Welcome to episode 11 of a series where we examine the cut content, design, and development of Fallout New Vegas. The Scorpions are a small gang of raiders appearing near Westside. Inside the Monte Carlo, you'll find two unique NPCs, a vet and roller. Unfortunately, neither possess unique dialogue, and both are always hostile to the player. Similar to the Vipers, the Jackals, and for the most part, the Fiends, the Scorpions are nothing more than one-dimensional murder hobos. However, like countless aspects of New Vegas, the gang once had a grander vision. This is the untold tale of the Scorpions. In Westside, you can find Klamath Bob, an NPC named after the town of Klamath in Fallout 2. As far as I'm aware, he has the only dialogue referring to the Scorpions in the entirety of the game.
Not much to tell. Typical gang of dumb bullies and angry nobodies. They're holed up a bit south of here, in the Monte Carlo suites. They think they're tough, but anytime they tangle with the Fiends, they get torn right up.
First, his lines imply that you would have been able to buy chems from the Scorpions. This is further reinforced by the fact that Roller has an unused vendor chest containing chems. There's also a crafting bench in the room where he spawns, which suggests Roller might have been manufacturing the chems they sold. Tantalizingly, Klamath Bob's dialogue also insinuates that the Scorpions were at odds with the Fiends. Given that the Scorpions are planned to be a gang of chem dealers, and that the Fiends are vicious chem addicts, along with the fact that both groups were imposing themselves upon the citizens of Westside, they would have been natural rivals. The only other remnant of their content is an unused note in the game files called Ammunition for the Scorpions, and it sheds light on a cut quest centered around the gang. Yvette, the leader of the Scorpions on the west side of New Vegas, wants you to set up a steady supply of ammunition from the NCR quartermaster at Camp McCarran. Her gang recently acquired new firearms, but lacked the ammunition to put them to use. First, the note reveals that Yvette was meant to be the leader of the Scorpions.
Are you implying I have some kind of secret under-the-table stash I only offer to certain clients?
Second, it mentions the NCR quartermaster. During the unmarked quest dealing with Contreras, it's revealed that Sergeant Contreras is pretty shady, trafficking chems, guns, and ammo on the side. So I think we can safely assume that he was planned to be involved. Finally, it seems like a reasonable assumption that the ammunition was intended to be used against the Fiends. From here on out, it's entirely speculation. After returning to Yvette with the ammunition, perhaps she would have had an additional quest objective, clearing out a nearby Fiend location, or helping the Scorpions fight off a group of Fiend attackers. In fact, there are several Fiends near the Monte Carlo set to respawn, but they're disabled and rely on an incomplete script to enable them, so it never happens. Considering that one of these Fiends would have spawned directly across from the Monte Carlo, it's plausible this was connected. If this content had been implemented, there might have even been some degree of reactivity. Perhaps initially, Fiends would have spawned in outside the Monte Carlo and massacred the Scorpions outside. But after completing the quest, the Scorpions might have been better equipped to fend off the Fiends. This is all conjecture, but I still think it's interesting to consider. During my talk with area designer Jeff Husges, I asked him why the Scorpions were cut. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is one of mine, and I can't remember why I never ended up using it. Like most things I did, I just started popping in content and seeing what stuck. It's entirely possible that we wanted to keep the focus on the Fiends versus NCR, instead of adding a third party to the mix. Assuming this quest was scrapped as a design choice opposed to time constraints, I can definitely see Jeff's point. It might have complicated the conflict between the NCR and Fiends, and not necessarily in a good way. It's still a shame, as this would have been a unique opportunity to align yourself with a group of chem-slinging raiders, while creating an interesting subplot between the gang, the Fiends, and the NCR. Further, I can only imagine just how entertaining a Vet and Roller's dialogue likely would have been. Ultimately, though, the Scorpion's quest was left on the cutting room floor.